Do you want to escape from your country? Do you want to escape from your environment? This was the main motivation why I started learning foreign languages in the first place. My name is Victor, I'm from Russia. Right now I'm in Seoul, South Korea. And today in this video I'd like to talk to you about one of the main motivations why people learn foreign language and how learning a foreign language can literally change your life. I can speak 5 languages, I'm fluent in Chinese, Korean, obviously I'm Russian, so I speak Russian and English. And so I also speak Japanese, and foreign languages completely transformed my life. And in this video, I'd like to talk about one of the most important motivations that people have. In my particular journey and in the journey of my clients, because I coach people from different countries to master different foreign languages, what I've noticed, there is a common theme between many of people who learn foreign languages. Many people just literally want to go. They just want to get out of their country. I remember I saw a funny comment. One guy said that he wants to get out of his parents' house. And so people have different kinds of motivations, but one of the main motivations that people have is escaping from their environment, going to a new country, going to a new environment, starting from zero again, just starting a new life. There is a saying which goes like, you're the average of 5 people you hang out with the most, which means that you are your environment, you are the information of your environment. And so in this year I'd like to talk about a really important aspect of how to change your life by changing your environment. This is extremely important. Many people, literally like me, they go to another country. So what's my story? I grew up in Russia, and when I started reading books, when I started going abroad, when I started traveling, I realized that my hometown was not the place that I would like to connect my life with. This was not the place that I wanted to live in. And as soon as I started realizing that, at that time I couldn't even speak English, I started learning English by myself. I told my parents that I want to tutor. At that time it was not expensive, private tutor was not expensive at that time. And so basically I started learning English by myself and with the tutor, and this was the very first step that I did. And again, traveling changed my mindset as well. As soon as I realized that, as soon as I compared my hometown with those places that I traveled to, I realized that Russia wasn't the place that I wanted to stay in. And many of the clients on my program as well, some people, let's say, learn Spanish or Chinese or Korean. Many of the clients on my programs, they also have this motivation, the same motivation. They just want to get out of their country. They just want to start a new life in a new environment. If you want to change your habits, if you want to change your mindset, if you want to literally rewire your brain, learning a foreign language is one of the best ways to do so. Learning a foreign language, the first thing it will help you to do is that it will give you freedom of traveling. You'll be able to move to another country, to start a new life in another country. It will make you to improve your personal life, your relationships, your professional life. It will give you a choice where to go, where to live, who to talk to. This is the very first thing. And the second thing, it will rewire your habits. Right now I'm in Korea, I'm fluent in Korean. The things that I would say in Korean, those things are different from the things that I would say in Chinese. I'm also fluent in Chinese, and those things are completely different from the things that I would say in Russian and in English. So I basically have different personalities depending on the language that I speak. When you master a foreign language, it's not that you master a language, you also master understanding of culture. You also kind of become a different kind of person. If you're a master of a foreign language on a fluent level, your thoughts patterns change. So your brain becomes more flexible. You start thinking in this language. I'm literally catching myself thinking in Korean and Chinese oftentimes. Your brain literally rewires itself after you start learning a foreign language. There are studies that they did. They basically divided people into 2 groups. One group learned the foreign language and another group learned something else. The group of people who learned the foreign language, area of the brain which is responsible for learning languages, it literally increased in size because they were learning a foreign language. So there are actual brain changes happening. Your neural networks, they are being rewired when you're learning a foreign language. And guess what? Your thoughts patterns change. If you think that you have so many negative thoughts and so many repetitive negative thoughts, if you feel that you're stressed, if you feel that you want to literally become a different person, learning a foreign language and mastering it on a fluent level is one of the best ways to do so. And when you do it, you go to a new environment, you live in a new country, you live in a completely new world, you create a completely new universe for yourself. You know, it's like there are so many people, they travel to South America to try ayahuasca or to try different stuff. People try different drugs to rewire their brain, to try to think differently. And one of the more healthier and more sustainable ways to do so is to literally change your brain step by step. And one of the best ways that I've tried and my clients try over and over again is to learn a foreign language. This is one of the best ways to rewire your brain, change your thoughts, change your patterns, change your life basically. This is one of the best ways. And how do you do so? How do you start with a foreign language? If you understand that you want to move, you want to get out of your parents' house, or you want to go to another country, you want to change your brain, you want to wire your brain, what do you do with it? What is the thing? What is the step-by-step process? So basically, there is a step-by-step process on how to accelerate your learning. You don't have to spend years and years and years on acquiring a foreign language right now. I spent 11 years on learning foreign languages, and during those 11 years, I developed a system, I developed a step-by-step method on how to master pretty much any foreign language on a fluent level or conversational level, literally in months. I have my own system on how to use a subconscious mind, how to basically cut your learning curve, all the shortcuts, all the methods on how to use your brain, such as pre-testing. I have my own system I developed over 11 years. I would like to share it with you. If you're interested in my system that I use, you can register for a free call with me. The link is down below in the description of this video, so you can register for a free call where I will show you my step-by-step method. If there are spots left, if you register early enough, if there are spots left, I'll be able to jump on the call with you and give you a free consultation, give you a free advice on how to learn and master pretty much any foreign language. I hope that this video is helpful for you and motivating for you guys. And as always, until next time.